Hello, good morning, everyone. So we'll just wait a minute or more and we'll just wait for everyone to join and then we'll get started with the session. In the meantime, it's a small audio check that everyone on their end can hear my audio. You can type it on the chat box. Perfect. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Hi, my name is Shantanu, and I'm an astronomy educator, and I'm also an astronomer with Space India. Right? So, why am I here today? Why are you all here today? So, the reason is my organization, Space India, has come up for the first time with an online space astronomy summer camp. Right? So, why do we have the summer camp? What's the idea behind it? I am going to tell you about that today. I'm going to tell you about the reasons that why I feel that all of you should join the club and be a part of it. Right. So before I go into the details, so I just introduce myself as an astronomer. Right. So who actually is an astronomer? Astronomer is a person who studies the stars and galaxies and the universe in a large by observing them through telescopes or by other means. Right. Now, being an astronomer is not something hard. You cannot only enjoy the universe by being a professional astronomer. You can even pursue astronomy as a hobby. Right. And I'm pretty sure that even you might not be an astronomer, might not be an amateur astronomer. Even then, going out in the night looking at the stars must make most of you curious. I would like to say that all of you love looking at stars. You love the beauty of stars, right? It is something that we are not getting a lot of in cities. So whenever we go out to clear areas, stars make us happy, right? So amidst all the situation that has been going on because of the lockdown, right, the pandemic, I know that a lot of students especially have been very stressed out, right? You are seniors and you're in your classes where you have to put up more efforts towards your studies, and this situation creates quite a lot of stress for you. So what we are planning to do is we are going to ease you out a bit. We want to reduce the stress that you're facing and want to give you something to look forward to every day, a platform where you can interact with students who have the same ideas like you and learn something new, right? So since we cannot go out of a house right now, we cannot go out and play, we cannot engage in social activity, something which I know a lot of us miss. For the same reason, we have come with an online space astronomy summer camp. So under this camp, we are not going to ask you to step out of your house, but we are going to bring astronomy to your houses, right? In every session, we are going to get engaged in discussions. We are going to learn about the universe, and we are also going to do a lot of activities, right? So these activities have been specially planned for students of your age, and the requirement for these activities are minimum, right? All you need are the common materials that are easily available at home, like ball, cardboard, box, right? Things like this, and nothing else, right? So what my aim today is going to be is to make you realize that astronomy can be done in a very fun way, even though you are restricted to your homes, right? And how, even though you might be, enclosed in the four walls, how you can do astronomy and how you can take the advantage of the night sky above you, right? So I hope that a lot of you find this demo engaging, intriguing, and are interested to join the summer camp by the end of it. So during this session, if there are any questions regarding the program, or there are some questions generally related to astronomy, you can put them up on the chat window. And once I'm done with the demo, I'm going to answer all your queries and your questions. right? So let's get started with the presentation. So I'm going to share my screen, and if you are able to see the screen on your, if you're able to see the presentation on your screens, you can give an affirmative in the chat. You can write yes or no over here. Perfect. So everyone can see my presentation. That's a good news. Okay, so Space Summer Camp, your window to the universe. So as it has been established that this is the first time that Space India is going online, right? This is going to be one of the longest and the best astronomy clubs of your life, right? I know a lot of you might have been a part of astronomy workshops or clubs before, right? But over here, this club is something different from that, and we are going to push the boundaries of astronomy more. We are going to learn a lot of new things, right? Because since the last time till now, a lot of things have been discovered in space, a lot of things have been known, and we are going to have a very healthy discussion regarding that. Now, since you are, in your classes 6, 7, 8, it is becoming important to discuss the importance of astronomy. Why is astronomy as a subject important for all of you? So over here are some of the advantages of astronomy. The first thing is curiosity. You students are in an age where you are very curious, right? Every day, even during your school classes, your online classes, you come up with new questions, right? Questions that you want to be answered. Similarly, I'm pretty sure that when you spend your nights looking up at the stars, there are questions that pop up into your mind. How far is that star? Is that star still there, or am I just seeing a star which has already died? Are there aliens in the universe, right? And other questions like this. So studying astronomy gives you the answer to a bigger picture. It helps you understand the universe of which you yourself are a part. Then the second thing is astronomy helps in the growth. Now, how does it help you in the growth? Now, astronomy is an interdisciplinary science. What does that mean is it includes all the sciences in it. Astronomy has physics, astronomy has chemistry, it has biology, and knowledge of astronomy helps you understand your sciences better. So it's going to help you grow in your individual school, subjects. Then after that, most of you, I am hoping that after the astronomy sessions, get interested in astronomy in such a way that you pursue astronomy as a career. So the field of astronomy is vast, right? There are a lot of things to study. You can study about galaxies, you can study about the Big Bang, the stars, the black holes, right? And to do all of this, to become a scientist in the field of astronomy, or to become an astronomer, you need to have a professional degree in astronomy. So to push you towards that path, right, we have this summer camp. Now, astronomy can also be pursued as a hobby, right? Not everyone who loves astronomy has to become an astronomer. You can even have it as an interesting hobby for your pastime, right? And the fourth reason that why astronomy is important is that astronomy has given us a lot of things for our daily lives, right? It has contributed to a lot. Now, when I say astronomy, I'm sure that a lot of you think about looking at the stars, right? Think about looking at the stars using a telescope. But even when you're doing this session, right, the things around you, like your laptop, your mobile phones, your Bluetooth, your wireless headphones, all of these were actually invented for astronomy. They were actually invented for space science, right? So we are surrounded by astronomy, and our daily lives are very much affected by astronomy. So to visually attract you towards the idea of the summer camp, to visually attract you to the idea of astronomy, I'm going to start this with a small video. So this 1 minute video has been made using the pictures clicked by the Hubble Space Telescope. So Hubble Space Telescope is actually a telescope as big as your school bus in space. So it has clicked such amazing photos that using the photos and the data, we have created a 3D trip of some of the objects, right? So what I'm going to show you today is a video of nebulae. So nebulae are clouds of dust and gases, right, where new stars form, and even they are formed when stars die. So let's go on a trip of some beautiful, amazing paintings of nature, colorful nebulae. can see it's the Bubble Nebula, one of the most beautiful nebulas that scientists have found. So all the different colors of the nebula actually tell you about the different chemicals that are present in there. And all these stars are actually forming inside the nebula. So as I said, a nebula is a cloud of dust and gas. Right. So this was just a small peek into the idea of astronomy, why astronomy is so amazing. Right. So let's discuss the advantages of astronomy for you as students. But before that, here is one of my favorite quotes by an astrophysicist whom I admired a lot, called Stephen Hawking. I'm sure a lot of you must have heard about him, right? So to confine our attention to terrestrial matters would be to limit the human spirit. So if you only think about what's happening on Earth, if you only think about, the little things around you and you forget the big universe, you are kind of wasting your intelligence. Humans are the most intelligent, species on the Earth. So we should use this capability to understand the universe, because when we understand the universe, we understand ourselves better. So, what are the four reasons that I think that students like you should join this summer camp? So, reason number one is there are going to be 14 online sessions. Every session is going to target a specific topic. So, definitely, you're going to learn a lot. You're going to be updated with the topic. You're going to learn interesting, amazing facts that you might not have heard before, right? When you learn all of these things, you learn how to connect them with your other subjects, right? And that becomes a starting point for you to discover more other things. You're going to end up with more questions, and those questions are going to lead you towards better answers. Then the second reason that why you should attend or be a part of the summer camp is the engagement that it offers. Astronomers like me, astronomy educators like me are going to conduct your session, and we are here to answer all the questions that come up to your mind regarding space and the universe. So after every session, we are going to have an interactive part where you will ask us questions and we are going to answer that for you. And maybe we get to know some of your ideas too, right? The third thing is, as Space India very much advocates, is that it's of no use to learn if you cannot imply it or apply it to an activity. So every session, after every 14 session, you are going to get some activities, you're going to get some assignment to do yourself at home, right, that you can share with us online. So these assignments, as I said, do not require you to go outside your house, right? They can be done from your house. You can build models, you can there are you're going to learn how you can do astronomy even from a balcony. You are going to learn how to spot the stars, right? So it's going to be very fun and it's going to be an hands-on experience. And as you might know, that when you do something practically, it increases your knowledge about the subject. And the fourth reason is to definitely get inspired. So my aim with the summer camp is going to be push you towards the field of astronomy, to make you get interested in the field as a career or as a hobby, right? So apart from this, I would mention before I tell you about the sessions that in the end of every session, just apart from activities, you are also going to receive a handout. So a handout is going to be a document that is going to be mailed to you, which has interesting facts for you. It has links to different resources. So if you want to read more about the topic that has been discovered or that has been discussed, sorry, you can click on the links and you can learn more about the topic. Apart from that, by the end of the summer camp, every member of the camp is going to receive an e-certificate that certifies that the student has undergone an astronomy course, right? So that would be your first step towards becoming amateur astronomers yourself, and then in the future take it up as a hobby. Okay, so over here, let's discuss what are the sessions that you're going to have, right? And some of these I'm very sure are going to grasp your attention very nicely. So when we start learning about the universe, we start The universe is so big, so we need to start closer to home, right? So the first session called Exploring the Universe, part one, is going to be a in detail understanding of a solar system of our planets. Now, a lot of us know a lot of things about the inner planets, but we are going to discuss the outer planets in details. We are going to discuss the dwarf planets, the latest missions, what we have found out about them, and what are the other missions that have studied the moons. What are the places in the solar system where we think that life can be supported? Then after this, we are going to step out of our small system and we are going to understand the bigger universe. So exploring the universe part 2 is going to be a trip of the universe. So we are going to travel with the speed of light, going through different stars, through different star clusters, different galaxies, and we are going to understand how different galaxies are formed, how do they interact, how we are going to understand what are galactic groups, right? How the universe was created. All of this is going to be a part of exploring the universe number 2. Now, since we have started talking about stars, we need to know how stars are formed, how stars die. So that brings us to the session number 3, life cycle of stars. So in this, you're going to learn everything about stars. How do stars form? What are the different kinds of stars, right? Is sun going to become a black hole, or are black holes really that dangerous, right? So you will learn everything about the life cycle of a star, and you will learn how to identify that which star is going to end up in which phase. Not every star will become a black hole, right? So that is something that you're going to learn in the life cycle of stars. Then the fourth session is going to be about distances in space and universe. So we know the space is vast, right? We cannot use the common measuring units that we use on Earth. So we have to go for units like light year, like parsecs, right? And how are these units measured? What are their importance? And you are basically going to understand the scale of the universe in this particular session, right? How big the universe actually is. Then after that, the session number 5 is going to be stargazing basics. So astronomy is not fun if you don't actually go out and do stargazing, right? So this session is going to be your first stepping stone to the world of stargazing, right? How do you plan your observation? What all can you observe, right? Then once you are familiar with the process of stargazing, with the process of finding directions in the night sky, we are going to move up to our 6 sessions, optical tools of astronomy. So obviously for astronomy, naked eye works, right? Naked eye works for astronomy, but having a telescope or binocular makes it more easy. So we are going to learn about the telescope. We are going to learn about the binoculars, right? How they can be used, whether telescope is better or whether binocular is better for the astronomy. So this is going to be a part of session number 6, right? Then after that, we have the session called smartphone astronomy, something that students of this age, of the 21st century, moving on to 22nd century, are very familiar with. We all have smartphones, right? We all use smartphones a lot. So how can you engage into astronomy using your phone, right? You're going to learn about apps that are going to help you identify constellations in the sky, that are going to tell you when the ISS or the International Space Station is going to be visible from your home, that without a telescope. You're going to learn about some augmented reality softwares that can bring different missions inside your room, right? So you can study them. Now, once you've done with smartphone astronomy, we are going to move on to session number 8, stargazing from urban cities. Now, stargazing from an area without light pollution is going to be amazing. But since right now you are confined to your home and you cannot step out, how can you do astronomy from your home? So in this session, you're going to learn about the constellations that you can identify even though you are living in a city like Delhi. And there is one advantage to the quarantine, that is that the skies have cleared a lot, the pollution has reduced, so you can see more stars than you were able to see before. So this session is going to be a really good session for you in which you can apply it in your real life. So that very night, you can go out, you can step out, and you can practice what you've learned, and you can amaze your family members with this knowledge of your astronomy, knowledge about the stars that are above you, right? Everyone loves hearing and talking about stars. Then after this is the session number 9, which is called celestial occurrences number 1. In this session, you are going to learn about occultations and eclipses. So, what are the different kinds of eclipses? Lunar eclipses, solar eclipses, why they're important, how to study them, how to observe them, and you're also going to learn about occultations. So, occultations are simply when a bigger object covers a smaller object behind it. Right? For example, sometimes the moon covers a planet or the moon covers a star. So, what are the importance of process like occultations? Then in next session, number 10, you're going to learn about celestial occurrences number 2. In this, you're going to learn, so celestial occurrences are basically about, about phenomena that you can observe from Earth through telescopes or by your naked eye. So celestial occurrences number 2 is going to talk about transits. It is going to talk about elongations, right? So when an object actually goes around the sun, there is a distance when it is going to be the farthest from the sun. There's going to be a distance when it is closest to the sun, right? And those positions of the planet affect in what way we can observe it, in what way we can study it. For example, sometimes Venus appears to pass in front of the sun because of its orbit, right? So why are transits and elongations important, and why are conjunctions important? Conjunctions are when two objects appear very close in the sky, right? So that helps us to understand their orbit in the sky. So all of this you're going to learn in your session number 10. Then after this, we are going to move on to space settlement, session number 11. So we all are, whenever I say that, students, you may ask questions now. One of the most common question is that, sir, can we live in this particular place? Can we live in that particular place in the universe? So this is a session on space settlement. What are the requirements for settling out in space, right? And whether can we settle in on moon or on Mars, right? And how we are going to manage that. So we know that humans are already planning to go out and settle on Mars and the moon, right? So how would that become possible, right? Then after that, we are going to go to the session number 12, which is introduction to space missions, right? So we know so much about the universe through a lot of space missions like spacecrafts and telescopes that go out in space and study the different objects, right? Now, a lot of understanding, a lot of expertise goes into planning of these missions. So you're going to learn about that, right? How are these missions planned? How do we decide at what time does a mission need to be launched, right? What direction does the mission need to be launched? How to plan a mission that needs to study Jupiter? What's the difference between a mission studying Mars? So things like this is going to be studied during the particular session. Then session number 13 is going to be basics of rocketry. So we are going to understand rockets, rocket science, laws of rockets, right? We are going to build our own rockets, and we are going to learn how we can launch them from our home, right? So we are going to build a rocket that can be launched easily from the home, right? So this is going to be your session number 13. And the last session is going to be gifts of space science. So space science is not just looking at the stars, as I've said, right? When we want to explore space, we need some new technology. And when that new technology is invented, that technology can sometimes be used by people like you and me. For example, let me give you one very common example. You drink glucose, you drink rasna, you drink tang. But something that you might not know is it was actually invented for astronauts in space, right? This is something very common which has become a part of your life, right? So in this session, we are going to appreciate things around us that have been possible because of space exploration. Even the cameras on your phone are a result of space exploration. Okay, so these are the 14 sessions that are going to be a part of your summer camp, right? And in these sessions, as I've said, there will be activities. So you are going to have 14 very fun activities, some of which include model making, some of which include actually using your phones for astronomy, or from your house doing your actual stargazing. Then after that, in the end of every session, you're going to receive a handout, right? Which is going to have some links to further resources for you to go and follow if you want to know more about the subject. And as I've said, that, you know, by the end of the summer camp, you are going to receive an e-certificate that certifies that you have undergone a 14-day astronomy course, right? And it is one of the longest astronomy courses we have and one of the best that we have come up with. This is the first time we are going online, and I really think that, if you are amazed by stars, which I think most of you are, you should join the Space Online Astronomy Club. Okay, so just to brief it all out, just a summary of what we have discussed is, why should you join the club? Well, the reason is that you're going to learn a lot of things. You're going to exchange ideas with the educators, with the friends who are attending the session along with you, and exchanging ideas and doing the activities are actually going to increase your creativity and even your performance in your different subjects, right? So with this, I come to the end of my demo, and let me tell you how you can be a part of this Space Online Club, right? So what you need to do is, if your parents are watching, they already know about what the club is about. If they are not, go and tell your parents about the club. Tell them that you're interested in joining and tell them about the benefits of the club. And after that, you can, approach your school's educational counselor, who will give you the details about the fees and the starting date. Okay, so the starting date from right now has not been fixed. It will be fixed depending on how many students of join, and once we get the names of the students, right? So these sessions are going to be around 1 hour each for 14 days. Okay, so uh, join the club. If there are any doubts, I'll be answering them right now. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the question and answer part, where a lot of you have put up a lot of questions already, right? So I could see that you were answering all the things that I was saying during the demo one by one. So yes, as I said, a lot of questions regarding aliens and regarding life on other planets and moons have come up in the question and answer box. So, do aliens exist? So, as I've always said, right, the universe is big. The universe is very big. Our Milky Way galaxy has 100 billion stars, and there are 100 billion galaxies like the Milky Way. So, obviously, there has to be life somewhere. It's just that we haven't found it till now, right? So, we are studying about places even in the solar system where water exists, where oxygen exists, because these are the two things we know are important for life. Right? We have also found proteins in different objects of the solar system. Right? We have found planets outside the solar system that might support life. So this is all, a part of astronomy, and this is all what we are going to discuss during the sessions. Is ancient aliens true? No, not. I wouldn't comment on that, but in my opinion, no, it's not. Ancient aliens is just a show, because on Earth, no alien has ever come, students. If it would have been there, we would see a lot of aliens in the traffic that we face. How many galaxies are there? Well, the universe is infinite according to our current knowledge. So an infinite universe can actually have an infinite number of galaxies. How do you eat in space? Okay, so this is fun. So when space travel started, astronauts used to eat food in the form of curry, in the form of a paste. So like you have your toothpaste, so the food was inside that tube, and they had to take it out in the form of paste. But now astronauts can enjoy the same cuisine that you enjoy from their space stations. So the food is actually dried, it is cooked, and then it is frozen and dried, which is called freeze dried food. So that food only needs to be added, you only need to add water to it, and it becomes the proper food with, whatever it looks like. So you can eat mac and cheese, you can even eat your favorite curries in space, and it has the same flavor as that on Earth. Okay. So this, the making and storing of the food is a little bit different. Okay. So I heard that the astronaut played hockey on the moon. Yes, that's true. So it was actually golf, and it was actually played by Alan Shepard. Can we see space without a telescope? Yes, you can. You can actually step out of your house today and look up in the sky, right, from your balconies and from a safe distance, and you can see the stars. And Astronomy can also be done with your naked eyes, right? Looking at constellations, looking at comets is a part of naked eye astronomy. Is multiverse theory true? We don't know. We don't have any clues regarding it. There are some proof that it might be true there, and there are some lack of proof that it might not be true. Is astronomy related to geography? Yes, definitely. So when you study about the moon, when you study about the Mars, right, you're going to study about the craters, you study about the mountains, you study about the different structures that might have been formed through rivers on Mars, right? So Mars had rivers in the past. So we know all of that because of geography. Uh, No, in Noida and Delhi, you can actually see stars, students. You cannot see as much as stars that you can see from clear areas, but Noida and Delhi actually offer you good stars. So I actually, I used to stay in Noida when I take sessions. So Noida has clear skies. And even during the quarantine, the sky has cleared a bit. So you can see the brighter stars, the brighter constellations from Noida. A while ago, when I was there, I actually saw Sagittarius, which is a quite faint constellation. What is the difference between astrology and astronomy? Well, astronomy is science, right? Astronomy studies the stars and the planets the way they are. Astrology says that what is happening in space, motion of a planet, can actually affect your future, which is something not related to science. Okay, is life possible on Pluto and Mars? Well, we think because we have found it's not possible, but it has substances that are needed for life to be possible. For example, Mars has liquid water inside its surface. Pluto has liquid water inside its surface. Right? Is space station in space? Yes, space station is in space around 500 kilometers above. Is there a mountain on Mars? Yes. The tallest mountain actually is on Mars, the Olympus Mons, 3 times taller than the Mount Everest. What are the activities that you'll do? Okay, so the activities are going to be some model making based on what you've learned. So these are going to be real, they're actually going to depict what you learned. So you can make models, you can make rockets, and it would be given to you by us depending on the session. For example, if there is a session on smartphone astronomy, you would be given the activity to actually use your smartphones to perform a certain task. That if it is about stargazing, you would be asked to do some stargazing and note down what you've observed. If it's about model making, you would be given some model to make, which can be made using materials that are easily available in your home. Okay. So students, I understand that, because of shortage of time and because a lot of you are going to ask a lot of questions, I might not be able to answer all of them. But when you're a part of the summer camp, after every session, we are going to have a Q&A round. And, even if there is some query of yours that has been left out, you can definitely, mail us that query. So we'll give you our emails, or you can contact us through your teachers, and we will answer your queries on email if they were not being answered during the session, right? So as I said, the engagement part of the summer camp is also a very big advantage for you. How many dwarf planets are there? Well, there are a lot of dwarf planets in the solar system, actually a few hundreds of them, right? For example, Ceres, Pluto, even the moon of Pluto, Charon, is sometimes classified as a dwarf planet, right? What Beta, the fees and the starting date, all of this would be given to you. The information will be given to you by your school's educational counselor. Okay. Is there any astronomer on Mars? Well, if you include machines and humans, yes, there are a lot of astronomers on Mars. For example, we have machines that are rovers, robotic machines. We have landers on Mars, and they actually study Mars, and they actually also study the sky of Mars, the atmosphere of Mars. So if you include robots as astronomers, then we have astronomers like Curiosity on Mars. You can join the astronomy class by going to your school's educational counselor, contacting them or contacting your teachers, and they will, note down your name. There might be a form for you to fill up, and by that you will be a part of a club. Okay, where is Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 now? So Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 have crossed the solar system and they are in the interstellar space. Okay, so right now they're in the middle of nothing. There is nothing closer to them. But in the next few million years, Voyager 2 is going to go closest to the brightest star that we see from Earth, which is Sirius, right? And Voyager 1 in 40,000 years or so is going to go closer to another star in some other constellation, right? So they are right now in interplanetary space. Why do we need a space suit? Okay, so we need a space suit because in space, students, there is a lot of radiation that is coming from the sun, right? There's a lot of radiation coming from everywhere in the universe. We need to protect ourselves from that. Then the temperature of space is very, very cold, right? And because there is no oxygen, so you need an oxygen supply through your suit. Can you fly rockets by your own? Yes, so you're going to learn about rockets that you can make in your home, right? There are handmade rockets. How are space stations made? Okay, so what happens is a space station is as big as your football field, okay? But they did not take the whole space station in one time to space. So what happened was a small piece was taken first, right? Inside the rocket, a small piece was carried to space, and that became the first space station, right? It's actually called a module, right? So the first module of ISS was Zarya, Zarya. Then after that, a second piece is carried, and then it is attached. So it's like a jigsaw puzzle, right? You join the different pieces to make the whole ISS. Have scientists found that Mars has life? Well, scientists found that in a few million years ago, Mars actually had rivers like Earth, right? They found evidence that there were rivers flowing on Earth, and actually, we have found an underground liquid water lake inside the south pole of Mars. So Mars can support life. It would have supported life in the past, but can we settle over there? Can we use the resources that are available on Mars? Is something that you're going to learn in your in your space settlement session. What is the temperature of the solar system? Okay, so the solar system as a whole is a part of space. So if I have to say what is the temperature of space, it is one of the coldest things that is possible, and the temperature of space would be somewhere around minus 269 to 270 degrees Celsius. Are Egyptian monuments related to aliens? No, they are not. They're actually related to stars. So the pole stars motion actually helps us to find directions. Different stars help us to predict which season is going on. And in the past, similar to astrology, people used to believe that stars and the pattern of stars actually affects their life, right? So they build pyramids in the same arrangement as the stars in the sky. So they're related to stars. They're not related to aliens, right? It's more of a little bit of astronomy and a little bit of astrology. Okay, so okay, here's a question. We can learn anything from YouTube, then why do we need to take this astronomy summer camp? Okay, let me tell you why. So when you're learning something from YouTube, right? First of all, you cannot have that engagement that you need, right? So you will, if you have a question, you'll go to the YouTube, will type another question, and you'll type another question that you're coming up with. Over here, after every session, we are going to, answer your questions that come up during the session. The next thing is that all our sessions have been specially tailored for students, right? So it's the same way, like if you could study from YouTube, why are you going to school? Because the session, the curriculum has been decided for your age, right? Sometimes you can find anything on YouTube. So even someone who's not an astronomer can put up something on YouTube and they wouldn't be tested for that, right? Another thing is, as a part of the space camp, you are going to receive handouts and activities. You're going to engage yourself in hands-on activities. And when you do hands-on activities, you actually understand better. And the fourth and the most important thing is YouTube videos would not give you a certificate that certifies that you have gone through an astronomy course and are an amateur astronomer. On the other hand, our summer camp will give you a certificate that you can show in the future, that that certifies that you have undergone an astronomy course. Okay, so can plants grow on Mars? Well, given the right environment, they can be grown in the kind of a greenhouse. If you build a kind of a greenhouse over there, it can be done. So I guess we have come to the end of the demo today. There is a restriction of time, right? So if there are other questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them during our summer camp, because most of the questions that you're asking is actually a part of the sessions that we are going to have, right? So I cannot answer them before telling you about the sessions, right? And the discussion becomes longer. So in the end, I'd like to end with requesting you to please go and tell your parents about the club, talk to them, and be a part of the space summer camp, because it is actually going to help you engage in activities. You can learn new things during the summer break. While you cannot go out, you can work on increasing your knowledge about this universe, and also you are going to be exposed to a lot of creativity and a lot of new ideas. So I'll be eagerly waiting to be a part of the summer camp with you and talk to you about amazing space stuff. Till then, have a nice day and bye, and take care of yourselves, students. Thank you so much. Okay, so all the information about the fees and all, how you can join, how everything can be done, would be given to you by your school's educational counselors. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Shantanu. We'll wind up the session.
Welcome, ma'am.